Well. Good morning, everybody. I hope everyone's doing well. It's Aaron Nagler, Cheesehead TV, coming to you live on Thursday morning for our Packers Daily Chat. Obviously, not yet a whole ton of news on the field to talk about, but we have been getting drips and drabs of availabilities. We'll be talking to Rick Wagner and Matt LaFleur later today. In the meantime, I think the best news in the last 24 hours was put out by Tom Pelissero a couple minutes ago, or I guess earlier this morning, regarding the totality of the tests so far have netted 56 positive players. And seeing as that's, the first ingest, intake, what have you, out of the thousands of players that were tested, I think that's pretty good. That's promising. Now, obviously, there's a long way to go, but it's a good start. Knock on wood. Big B, what's up, man? Good morning. Hit that like button, people. What else are you going to do, Dillon? That is a fair point. Jill Albright, hello. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Morning, Bayou Cheesehead. How you doing? How's the Bayou treating you? It's back to being warm as hell here in New York City after a lovely storm passed through. Fernando, hello. Hello from New York City. Hope Uruguay is treating you well. Do you think the Packers would be better on the road regarding the lack of fans in those stadiums? I mean, they were pretty good on the road last year. I do think it helps them in a place like Minnesota in week one, when everyone's kind of going to be adjusting to a new reality, a new normal. That's a house of horrors historically for Green Bay. And obviously they pulled out a big win last year, but for the most part, it's been really hard for them to operate on offense because of the noise. And without it, gotta think that helps, right? I do think offenses in general are going to be able to kind of do a lot more, so to speak, as when it comes to adjustments when they're on the road, things they wouldn't have been able to do with crowds in the stands. So I do think that is something to watch, and I do believe, and Corey Lindsley talked a little bit about it yesterday, it certainly is going to help offenses operate. I don't think there's any question there. Joey, I'm ready for Kevin King to welcome Justin Jefferson to the NFL. I mean, Jefferson was clearly the apple of Aaron Rodgers' eye if you listen to his interview with Kyle Brandt. Would have been nice to see him in the green and gold, but I'm all in on the Jordan Love train. Good afternoon from Manchester. What's up? Hello from New York City. How many more wickets do you think England will take this afternoon? Man, you are way outside of my comfort zone. I have no idea, but cheers. Steven, good question. Are TV networks going to use crowd noise? I would suspect probably, at least Fox will. They've been doing it for baseball at times. I do think what most broadcasters should do is what NBC did when the Premier League came back on the digital side. They had an option. You could have fake crowd noise or not. I think that would be obviously the preference for most people. But for the over-the-air, network broadcasts, I suspect they will. I think it'd be awfully weird just to watch in the echoing chamber of a empty dome stadium. But we'll see. I mean, I honestly, I kind of prefer the fake noise. Gives it at least a semblance of normalcy, even though we all know it's not normal. But I understand people who can't stand it, who maybe it distracts. We'll see how they handle it, but I suspect they will. Do you think the Packers will bring in anyone to help stop the run? John, they did. His name is Trayvon Hester. I mean, that was your big ticket signing this offseason. No, from this point, unless they get on the field and suffer some injuries, or maybe some more guys end up on the COVID-19 reserve list, which Hester actually is at the moment. I don't see them making any kind of significant moves. Now, maybe they, look around the waiver wire when guys get cut. Maybe they'll kind of go shopping, so to speak, after the initial or the only now cut downs. But I don't think it'll be a big name. I've talked about wanting Snacks Harrison all offseason, but I don't think that's happening, even though they apparently made an offer. Because I don't think he's going to play this year, and B, I think they're probably not going to blow him out of the water with a financial package. Have you heard anyone paying for a cardboard cutout for the stands if they don't have people? You know what? The Packers keep talking about having like 10 to 12,000 people attend games, at least eventually. I said this yesterday. It still blows my mind. But I haven't heard anything about, at least at Lambeau, cardboard cutouts. I know they've been doing it down in Milwaukee, in Miller Park. It looks a lot of fun. I know people who have bought them. I haven't done it myself, but yeah, I don't know. That's something I can ask Packers PR. It's a good question. If Goody acquires more talent this year, regardless of method, signing, trade, etc., what position do you think it would be for? Well, it really depends on what's available. I don't think more often than not that they. Now, obviously, again, injuries are always the mitigating factor, right? Somebody like John Lovett, I think, is a position like an H-back, versatile guy. Not something I would have sat here and gone, okay, that's something they're definitely going to target. I think when guys become available, they think can help them. And maybe they are thin at a certain position, or they think they can help on special teams. I think they look through it much more through that kind of lens rather than like a shopping list of we need a defensive tackle or we need a cornerback. I think they'll look for guys who have traits that can possibly help. Most likely he'll continue to churn the bottom of the roster. We saw that throughout the season last year. I think he'll continue to do that. But I don't think there's a position. And I know probably the easy, obvious ones to say are defensive tackle, inside linebacker, or wide receiver. And certainly if somebody becomes available at those positions that they think has some kind of tool set that they think can help their offense, defense, what have you, yeah, I'm sure they'll take a look. But I don't think it's as simple as, okay, we need a wide receiver. Let's go find one. Who do you see as punt return and kick return? And usually we have camp and preseason to battle that. Yeah, they usually throw a bunch of bodies back there. I think that's Tyler Ervin's job for the season. I mean, he basically saved their bacon there last year. And I don't see that changing anytime during the year, unless, of course, there's injury. Nagler, get Olive the dog. Oh, I found Olive's burner account. That's good. Hey, I'm catching you live. Woohoo. What's up, Lucas? How are you? Do you have any new news on Family Night? No, they haven't released anything. I'm still waiting on a quote-unquote camp schedule. I talked to PR last night, actually, and they are still in the process. Matt LaFleur is in the process of mapping out how he wants practices to go, what days, times, etc. So we're all kind of in a holding pattern. As soon as we know anything about Family Night, you will obviously know. No doubt about it. If no fans are present across the NFL, how will this where'd it go? Affect home field advantage? I see outdoor teams, particularly in the North, as the best advantage. Well, yeah, I mean, I think the biggest advantage is on offense. If you're a traveling team, and especially if you like to do a lot at the line of scrimmage like the Packers do, not having fans in the stands makes it a hell of a lot easier. I think that's the big driver here. I do wonder a bit about the emotion of the game. We all know football is a very physical game that guys really thrive off their emotions. Sometimes they play to a crowd, etc. And I'm not saying that these guys aren't going to be up for it. They're professionals, etc. But I do wonder what that kind of element, how that will affect them. After a big hit, there's not a huge roar. It'd be essentially just like being at practice, except it counts. I don't know. I'm really curious to watch that and see how that unfolds throughout the season. Do you think? Where'd it go? God, you guys, so many questions. They come fast and furious. Do you think LaFleur is aware of Rodgers' reluctance to pull the trigger on route concepts like slant flat? And if so, does he address it with Rodgers or scheme around it? That's a really good question, Frank. I think he can't not be aware of it. It's right there on tape. It's impossible to miss. Now, what he says or how he goes about talking to Rodgers about it, I have no idea. Luke Getsy would be the one grading each play. I have no idea how that's presented to him. As far as do I think he's noticed it or what is his reaction to it, I think the drafting of Jordan Love tells you all you need to know. That's when LaFleur will finally get to kind of put his imprint on the quarterback position, because there's not much you can tell Aaron Rodgers at this point. Boba Fett is not overrated. Pat, thank you. Couldn't agree more. I don't know if there's a Boba Fett argument happening in the comments at the moment, but I very much side with you. Will Kirksey play in Raven Green's role this year? Joe, no. Kirksey will be the Blake Martinez role, straight up. They've talked about that a lot. Raven Green will play the Raven Green role, hopefully, if he stays healthy this time. I think he makes a big difference back there, no question. But yeah, Kirksey will be inside linebacker, straight up. Travis, thanks for joining us. My uncle met Don Hudson at a game at County Stadium in 1989. He got a picture and an autograph with him. He also bought Don a beer. That is pretty dope. Don Hudson was the man. I saw him once. I didn't get to meet him, though. Draft value more important than drafted player nowadays? I don't know. I think we've seen general managers kind of loosen up a little bit when it comes to being so precious about their draft picks. I don't think there's any doubt about that. We've seen more player trades than I can ever remember in the last kind of 2 years, 2+ years. But, I still think it's highly valued. I don't think there's any question that draft capital is seen as a precious commodity. But yeah, I don't know. I think it depends a bit on the GM as well. I think John Schneider doesn't care a whit. And I think Brian Gutekunst clearly does. So it really depends on who's pulling that trigger. How do you see A.J. Dillon as a pass blocker? Dude should be a wall. I mean, Joe, that is one of the big questions heading into this season. And it is something I've talked about a lot here. And it's something I'm very curious to look for once they hit the practice field with pads on. Because, look, if he can't hold up, if he isn't a wall, so to speak, it's going to be hard for him to get on the field. He's got to be able to protect 12. He's got to be able to do everything, but he's got to 100% be able to hold up in pass protection. And that's not just the physicality of it, because obviously that is an important part, but it's also the checks, recognition, being able to pick up, where the blitz is coming from, adjustments from, say, there's a dog or a blitz, and the line is sliding one way, and you've got to know that you've got the back end, except all sorts of different things that are going to be going on in his mind. And he's got to make decisions like that. And if he does that and he holds up, then he'll play. But like I said, that is one of the big question marks, I think, heading into training camp. I know you were asked about hurry up yesterday, but do you see it as essential to our success this year? It seemed like one of our most important weapons in our arsenal went away last year, starting with Rodgers catching 12 men, which, if I'm not mistaken, only happened once last year. It happened like 2 or 3 times. The refs blew it dead a lot more last year. That was an emphasis in the offseason, and you knew it was going to bite the Packers because of Rodgers and his ability. The one that really kind of pisses you off is the one against the Raiders where he hits Geronimo Allison early on. But obviously that game turned out okay. But yeah, I think I asked Corey Linsley about that yesterday, and I kind of worded it poorly because and Corey said, we haven't gotten to it yet, but I suspect we will later in camp. And, I know that they're a couple days in doing walkthroughs. They're not going to be talking about hurry up yet, but it is something that both LaFleur and Rodgers talked about this offseason, wanting to implement, wanting to get to. And it sure sounded like Rodgers was kind of mystified why they didn't do more of it and or install it in camp. I was going back and watching some availabilities earlier this offseason because I'm a nerd and I was in the middle of a pandemic, so why not? And he was pretty, I don't want to say exasperated, but he was really kind of befuddled as to why they hadn't gotten or installed a hurry up tempo offense in his availability after the first Texans joint practice. So I do think it's something, like you said, it's a major weapon for Rodgers. And I would suspect, because it's been a part of Matt's offense, his system, wherever else he's been. So maybe it was just the question of they were meshing so much between what LaFleur wants to do, what Rodgers was comfortable with McCarthy, kind of trying to bring that over. For whatever reason, they never really got to it last year. So I'm with you, man. I think that is a big component, or should be a big component, of their offense. All right, we got some super chats up here. Let's get those on the screen. Preston, thanks for the super chat. How awesome would it be if our draft class goes down as the one everyone mocked, but ended up having Pro Bowlers and a future Hall of Fame quarterback? Preston, from your super chat to God's ears, man. It's all I'm praying for. It's all I'm hoping for. Look, I get it, man. I get it. It sucks to have the national media, other fans, etc., talk junk about your draft, and there's no question about it. But just the calm assurance of Brian Gutekunst gives me hope. I mean, that's all you got right now is hope. But yes, it would be beyond awesome. Frank, thanks for the super chat. Is LaFleur aware of Rodgers' reluctance to pull the trigger on route concepts? Oh, I answered this already. Thanks for the super chat, though. Let's see. Does Lovett signing affect number of tight ends and wide receivers? It could, John. I mean, it could. It's all a numbers game, right? It's all a puzzle. You got to put it together, and those pieces got to fit. And if he does enough, not just from scrimmage, but on special teams, yeah, that could affect maybe not the number of tight ends they keep, but it could definitely affect the number of wide receivers they keep. I mean, they want versatility, right? And there's a hell of a lot more value positionally in a guy who can play all over the map, including in the backfield, rather than the guy who basically just kind of lines up wide or in the slot. So now we're a long way. Don't get it twisted. We're a long way from anywhere close to having to make those decisions. They got to get on the field and he's got to prove it. But yeah, he could make it interesting. There's no doubt about it. Frank, all good, man. Thanks for the super chat, dude. We say, man, that guy was wide open, but we see from a bird's eye view. That's true, Don. It's true. And if you're talking about the Rodgers thing, it's true. I try not to play that game. He was wide open. Why didn't he pull the trigger? But when guys like Hall of Famers like Kurt Warner, Troy Aikman are pointing it out repeatedly, there's something there. Especially the question was about slant flat. His reluctance on the slant is just, it's so noticeable now. You can go through you can make a kind of a clips version of the times he has a guy on a slant and turns it down for whatever reason. It's noticeable, and again, I have no idea how LaFleur addresses it, if he addresses it, but it's definitely there on tape. Could you see us signing Delaney Walker? They were reportedly interested somehow earlier this offseason. I know he's been working out. His agent put out there that he's ready to play. And he's got a history with LaFleur, short though it is. I know he only played one game with LaFleur because he got hurt. But yeah, I think it's a possibility. But I think they'll look at what they have first on the field, get these guys going through their paces before they make that kind of call. But yeah, the longer he's out there, I think it's a possibility. What limitations does Ty Summers have? First of all, he's got to just make every tackle. He was sideline to sideline last summer. He was really exciting. You loved the athleticism. You loved his nose for the football. But man, he took some bad angles and missed a lot of tackles. He had lots of plays where you're really excited. You saw his ability, but then you also saw plays where he was out of position, just bad, didn't wrap up, etc. If he can become more consistent, I really like him. He certainly helped them on special teams last year. There's no doubt about it. If they can get anything else out of him, that's a bonus. Nathan, thanks for the super chat. Knowing how random and unreliable draft grades are, the Packers draft is probably going to have 4 Hall of Famers. That's what I'm talking about, Nathan. Thanks for the super chat. Yeah, 100%. Clearly, right? We go through these draft grades, free agency grades. Don't forget, ESPN, Bill Barnwell, Za'Darius Smith, one of the worst signings of the offseason. Terrible signing, terrible value. Went on to be a baller and continues to be so. Just saying, man, that stuff ain't worth the pixels it's printed with. Are you coming to Wisconsin? Matt, I am coming to Wisconsin. I'll be there on the 16th for about 2 weeks. I'll be there when the pads come on. So ready yourself. Dustin, thanks for the super chat. Nags, UFC with no fans has been great. Every hit and every crack this year will knock fans off their couches on Sundays. Let's hope so. It's going to be hard to mic it up too much without hearing some of the colorful language on the field. But yeah, I hope we do get kind of unfiltered access to the physicality of the game. That'll be a lot of fun. Gary, I remember life before Favre. I think those of us that do should be in no hurry for the Packers to move on from 12. I'm right there with you, Gary. I grew up watching Randy Wright and David Whitehurst. Trust me, I'm right there with you. However, I'm excited for Jordan Love. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I don't think anybody's trying to shove Rodgers out the door. I fully expect him to be around for at least 2 more years. So I can live in both worlds. I can enjoy, savor Aaron Rodgers, and I can be completely excited about Jordan Love and all the possibilities that lie within. I like colorful language. All right, Big B, calm down now. Let's just calm it down. What else? Was Jerry Gray? Will Jerry Gray oversee Pettin's defense? John, not specifically. He'll be coaching the secondary, corners particularly. But it is interesting that he does have, coordinator experience at a couple different spots. I do wonder what happened with him and Zimmer. Maybe there was some kind of butting of the heads there. Whatever. Sure looks like he needed a fresh start, and he's enjoying it in Green Bay. If Pettin struggles, they have a coordinator on hand, though. Maybe he steps in if the heat gets on Pettin at some point. But yeah, no, it's still Pettin's defense. He'll still be calling the plays. It's still his baby, so to speak. All right, guys, I got to jump. Can't thank you guys enough for hanging out with me. You guys are amazing. You're here every day. The news and the info will start popping soon because these guys are going to be on the field. I can't thank you guys enough, especially those diehards who have been with me all offseason. It's starting to crank up now. It's good to see everybody. Please do me a favor. Hit like on this video. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'll be back. If there's any breaking news, I'll be doing an extra cheese. In the meantime, check out the channel. Check out the website, cheeseheadtv.com. We are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day.